A wonderful, warm welcome to the Find Your Fire tribe and our guests. Today we have Find Your Fire Friday as usual. And for those of you who are watching this for the first time, I am Wendy Yorching, founder of Healing Spaces Caribbean and tribe mom of the Find Your Fire tribe. And every Friday we do a special chi energizing, enhancing, uplifting session with an interesting speaker. And today's wonderful guest is Mitzi-Ann Love. Mitzi is yes, she's the one who just sent you a kiss. Mitzi is so many amazing things. She is a lymphatic coach. She's a certified massage therapist. She's an author, a speaker. She teaches holy yoga, whatever holy yoga is, and many other things. But you can get the idea that she's all about health and healing and sharing that message of health and healing. So I would like to introduce you all to Mitzi Love. And Mitzi, could you please give us a little bit of a hello and tell us a bit about your journey that got you to this place where you have so many fascinating talents that you integrate towards helping people with a life of well-being?
Yes, thank you so much for having me, Wendy. I just adore you more than you know. Your book, Courage to Fly, that goes into reach the sky no matter what the world tells you. I have no matter what tattooed on my arm, so that means so much to me. You have no idea. But my journey for health in heart, soul, mind, and body all started with my longing for healthy touch. So my story is just one of, being raised in a home where there wasn't healthy touch, and it's not that there was unhealthy touch. There was just no touch, no conversation, and no, all of that stuff. So it bred some things in me in search of healthy touch and love, and I was looking for love in all the wrong places. So I connected with a lot of people that I shouldn't have connected with, and that's how my journey began. I did meet my Lord Jesus at age 16, and I met love for the first time in my life. And however, I still didn't get the understanding of what trauma does inside your body and how it affects your lymphatic system. So my journey was still in process. In the meantime, I became a midwife apprentice. I caught babies at home. I loved touching pregnant bellies and discovering human life growing inside. I was a CPR instructor, and then I thought, well, I'm going to teach people how to teach CPR. So I did that. I worked at the Department of Human Services so that I could teach young parents how to just love their kids and touch them, right? So that they would have a chance in life. And then I became a massage therapist in 2002 and fascinated with the lymphatic system, because you can't fix it with surgery or medication. It required touch. And that was my journey of my own healing, and I just wasn't aware of it. I was not aware of the healing that would take place in me becoming lymphatic, specializing in lymphatic therapy. So you want me to go on, Wendy?
As you wish, you go for it. Let it flow.
So one of the first things that I went to was, it was called Caught in the Act of Grace. It was an 11-week course for women who had been sexually abused. And in that course, I discovered, because I always thought, what's wrong with me? Like, I can honestly say I've never been mad at God. I always wondered what was wrong with me. And it was in that course I understood what trauma does to the body. And for the first time, I had people to tell my story to, and I was received. So healing started there. Then I found doing breathing and stretching, aka yoga. I designed my own flow. It's called Lymph Flow, where you move the lymph doing the same thing, breathing and just stretching and moving. And so I decided to get trained in trauma sensitive yoga. And so that's where I understood and studied this book, Overcoming Trauma Through Yoga, Reclaiming Your Body. I did not know how disconnected I was to myself, because when you raise that way, you literally are in survival mode and you don't know it. There's nothing wrong with you. You're just in survival mode. So I also learned about boundaries. Very important book, Boundaries. And I learned about emotional intelligence. I had no idea what emotional intelligence was. I love it. It says it's awareness, self-management, social awareness, relationship management, which none of those my childhood taught me, but God. So in all the studies of all of these things, I landed in massage therapy school and was excited about my good friend Wendy. Girl, love you. Wendy is also a holy yoga instructor. She's awesome. So that's when I decided that, oh, I love the system of the body because it requires touch, healthy touch. And when I first started out, I was working with oncology warriors. And I still, to this day, I still have my clients, amazing women, I will tell you that. But it's special with them because they have lymph nodes removed. And the lymph, the fluid that goes to these nodes to get taken up in these nodes and cleaned up and then drain back into the bloodstream here at these junctures. If the fluid goes there and there's no nodes, the arm swells up. So the fluid has to be rerouted to be picked up in other ways. So that was my first introduction to lymphatic therapy, was working on people with oncology. And then it opened up to pre and post surgery. Your body, if you're going to get cut on, the space, the tissue space needs to be cleaned out of debris, cellular debris, bacteria, viruses. And then you have a higher, your rate of not getting infection is actually higher with cleaning up that space. Now, other things factor in, the cleanliness of where you're at and all that stuff. But this gives you a higher rate of not getting infection. And then post-surgery, oh my gosh, I have a lot of post-surgery clients, mostly women, and just being able to help them move the fluid out of their tissue space and get back to movement again is a great joy to me. Another group of women that I have come to absolutely love. I asked God once for his eyes for people, and he gave them to me. And so lipedema is a specialized field, not lymphedema, which is that is my specialty. But there is a disease called lymphedema. It is a condition. It's a chronic condition, and it is diseased fat cells. You're basically born with it, and what causes it to manifest in your life is hormonal fluctuations. That's why it's mostly women, right? We start our periods, we have babies, we go through menopause. And so that throws your body, it's still kind of a confusing thing in science, and that's why the medical profession, not many doctors are understanding this, so they might diagnose you with morbid obesity. You might be called lazy and fat. And the thing is, so I've been asked what's the difference between cellulite and lipedema. Lipedema, if you are exercising moderate to strenuous, makes it worse because it creates an inflammatory response in the body. And this fat gets in, well, it's diseased already, but the inflammation creates fluid. And so there's a lot of swelling it's usually below the waist. Have you ever seen someone, they look kind of, like their top of their body doesn't fit the bottom part of their body? And both legs are like really like columns, and it goes all the way down to the ankle and kind of folds over. If it's on one side, that's lymphedema. If it's on both sides, that's lipedema. And then you also some women don't have the column-like legs, but they have the big hips and what's called a shelf bottom. The bottom kind of goes out, it's like a shelf, and their thighs are just real disproportionate. So the care for them is everything that I do. The number one exercise for lipedema, or all of us, is rebounding, bouncing on the rebounder. See my rebounder back there? I'll get on if y'all want me to. Um,
So Mitzi, right now, you have
Yes.
all you've come that long way and you have all these talents. What do you do with those talents right now to serve the world?
ah, well, I teach rebounding. I have a YouTube channel that I am just talked to a lady today. She said, I'm going to help you launch that and get it going. I'm like, yes, thank God for friends. So I teach skin brushing, dry skin brushing to anybody. This is good for all of us. I teach cupping. I use cupping on my clients. So cupping is a good way to release muscle tension, fascia, tight fascia in the body, restricts lymph flow and muscle just being able to move correctly. Um, I I work with my clients. I'm a lymphatic, so I coach people. I just coach people how to be aware of what's going in their body and how supporting their thoughts, because stress creates inflammation in the body, creates more stress. So you got this vicious cycle. And so I believe right here, in Romans 12, when it says, "Do not be conformed to the ways of the world, but be conformed, but by the renewing of your mind, um, for a good purpose, so that you can prove what the good and acceptable will of God is." So there's that taking the thoughts captive and reframing. Thoughts are very important, and I say that's number one. And then I teach people how to really focus on what you're eating. Like, are you honoring your body? I say food that says I love me. Are you honoring your body, or is food assaulting it? Because food and drink will cause, it creates inflammation in your body. Um, and then breath. So breath and the movement of the body. And I love to do that through holy yoga. I also have just created, like I said, lymph flow. Um, and those are the basics of it. And I wear this suit so that I could teach it. Yes, this is an exaggerated picture of the size of the lymph nodes and the vessels, but this
I think it's
gives
a
you.
pretty cool suit there.
I'm looking for a place to make the second one because it doesn't have the vessels on the bottom or on the backside. But the cool thing, if you see all these lymph nodes here, the little round ones are lymph nodes. We have no nodes on the back of our body except behind our knee, and that's where there's a joint. So the flexion of the joint actually helps decongest the nodes back there.
So Mitzi, then using your lovely outfit, tell us about the miraculous benefits of a healing touch.
Thank you. So the miraculous benefits, that's another clientele that I have. I have women that come to me just to increase their immune system by lymphatic massage. So imagine we have 30 trillion cells in the body, right? Cells take in nutrients and they get rid of waste, just like we do. We eat, we get rid of waste. What happens to the waste in between the cells? The lymphatic system, that's where it comes in. So you've got these vessels, the starting of the vessels look like fingers and they're going into that space, the doors open up and all this debris. And I'm just condensing this information here. Bacteria, viruses, cellular, it's in there. And so the movement of your breath and the movement of your musculoskeletal system is the pump. And
Hold for a second. Carrie, could you mute your mic for us, please, honey? Thank you.
Yeah. So people come to me to help move their lymph all over their body and increase their immune system. This is a big part of your immune system is the health of your lymph. We have most of our lymph health is in the gut. You know that 80% of our immune system is in the gut. So gut health is very, very important. Keeping a healthy lymphatic system in that gut area is like extremely important. And so I help people understand and breathing, using that diaphragmatic breathing, that big belly breathing. Not only does it help to fill up the bottom lobes of your lungs with oxygen. But as we exhale and really use that belly button to take it to our spine and get that diaphragm to really compress that air out, what you're also doing is you're creating this suction for all this lymph to go into these lymph nodes and then go deep into your body space. This is all below the belly button. And it comes up through a tube. It's called the thoracic duct. And then all of that empties here on the left side. So you've got neck, collarbone, and then it gets taken up in a vein right there, subclavian vein. The right side, upper part only, empties into the right side. So that is what I do to help. I teach people online how to do like self-drainage, face, drain. At night, I do a drain brain. You've got to drain your brain. Your brain drains when you're sleeping. So you've got to get adequate amount of sleep. And very important to drain your brain. If you know anyone who has suffered from dementia, I lost my dad to it. They're understanding now that there's just this buildup of this plaque in the brain where it's not being cleansed out properly. And so everything kind of gets gummy and connections can't get made. And we can actually support the lymph flow in our body. And in your brain, it's actually called lymphatics, Glymphatics. Anyhow, I teach people how to drain, self-drain. And I love to wear this suit because I'm very visual. I used to homeschool my kids, and one of my daughters needed me to act it all out. And I realized I like teaching this way, you know? So I asked someone to do this, and yeah, waiting for the second suit to be made, so it's even that much better.
I think it's a really cool suit. And is there anything you want to show us using that suit, about for women particularly?
I do. So, well, first of all, let me do this really quick. This rebounder here. So see how I'm not leaving the mat? I'm not jumping. I'm just bouncing. That's called a lymphatic health bounce. It's called the health bounce. It's the #1 exercise for your lymphatic system because you're going up and down with gravity, and all of the vessels in your body or in your lymphatic system are opening and closing, flushing. The other thing that I like to teach is, so let's do this really fast. This is going to be a quick version, y'all, that I love to teach. So remember I told you those drain spots? We've got that muscle in our neck. We have our collarbone. Put a finger over the muscle, finger over the collarbone, and where it meets there is where it drains. Okay? So we're going to stir that up 6 times. You're not pressing in. You're just kind of circular stirring. And then maybe on your last stir, you can kind of it's just a nice little scoop into that area. And what you're doing is you're kind of decongesting the area because lots of stuff's flowing there. And then your hand goes up above it a little bit more around your neck. See how I've got like this nice cut? I'm not pressing in. I'm just gently pulling that skin down towards the drain pipe. It's draining there. Another thing you can do is when you're doing that gentle pull down, you can stretch your neck to the side. If you feel any tight pulls, any connections there, you probably have some tight fascia. And I would say just stay there and breathe through it. And then we're going to go up a little bit farther. And you're just doing this nice little circular. It's like a... Sorry, that's my laptop making this noise. And then you take the peace sign fingers and you get behind the ear and in front of the ear. That's pre-auricular, post-auricular. And that's where you're just going to do this nice little circles. I'm kind of going back and down and forward. See that circle? So I am decongesting the lymphatic nodes in front of my ear and behind my ear, and then I'm just going to pull it down all the way to that drain site. So I've cleared, I'm decongesting, I'm directing.
And when it goes into that drain pipe, where does it go to, Mitzi?
That That goes back. That's how it goes back into the bloodstream. So your lymphatic flow is not only important to clean up the waste in your body, but to also create that fluid balance in your body. If we don't have the right amount of blood volume, it's not a good thing. So when this fluid's in your blood, it's called plasma. We all know that word. When it gets pressed out of the capillary bed on the arterial side, inside the tissue space, it's now called interstitial space, fluid between the cells. When it gets taken into the lymphatic vessel, now it's called lymph. Gets cleaned up through all those nodes I call recycling centers, and then it all is making its way back here again to go back into the bloodstream. Okay. Then it gets further cleaned up in kidneys and, I mean, there's this whole, we also have other organs that are part of the lymphatic system, but this is all part of cleaning out the tissue space. So yeah, so we do that. And then under the chin, if you ever see me, you know me, and I'm sitting there doing this, I'm literally, we have lymph nodes all under our chin and they go up here. And I just kind of take it that way. Yeah, I have little cups. I do facial cupping. And anyhow, you can push and then drain. Okay.
Now, Mitzi, I am not a lymph expert, so I'm asking you questions that the beginners in our group might be thinking. You said that the nodes absorb some of the impurities in the lymph before it gets into the drainage system. What do the nodes do with it? Because we all know that when we get ill, our glands swell up. And what do nodes do with it? How do they get rid of? How do we clean the nodes?
I love it. So those glands are just nodes. That's God's design. So inside that node, it's really interesting. It looks like if you cut it, if you look at a picture of it cut, it almost is shaped like a part of the kidneys. But anyhow, so it has all these little compartments in it, and there's all these macrophages, which is just big white blood cells. So they're like destroying, attacking. So bacteria, viruses gets broke down. And in each node, so here's the node, fluids coming into it. There's about 4 vessels bringing lymph into it and 2 vessels exiting it. So when it's coming out on the other side, it has been packed full of lymphocytes, which are white blood cells. So you've got the breaking down of all those lymphocytes, the macrophages in there, the white blood cells. And then it's like, well, we got to supercharge the lymph for it to come out on the other side. And that's how that happens. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, it does. But that means the nodes sort of clean themselves. They don't ever need cleaning. The nodes,
don't need, I would say they don't need cleaning, but they need decongesting.
So.
Why when I'm talking about starting here, or if I'm really teaching you a full body lymph self-drainage, we start here, then we go here where there's these nodes, and we do this decongesting. Okay, and then I have you just pull it where the drainage pipe is. So we decongest, then we pump. I always tell my ladies, if there's ladies in here, I say, you're in the shower, fluff the girls, fluff the girls. Fluff the girls, you know what I'm saying? And
not just because it feels nice, because it is good. Yeah.
That's why it feels nice. You're decongesting them. Anything that's decongested feels better.
And you're trying to get when you're doing your breast area, you're trying to get the stuff to go to the center where you have on your bodysuit, you have channels going down. Is that correct? Yeah. So you move it inwards.
Areola be here, so center. So the side of it in the bottom comes up to the armpit. Okay. The medial side, like towards the middle, comes into these nodes that are along your sternum or your breastbone.
Gotcha.
And then the very top of it goes straight up there. Okay. So it's kind of sectioned out. And then, of course, this side of it here was all the way to the armpit first. Yeah, so interesting. So always think, decongest first, then send more fluid. You don't want to send fluid to a congested lymph node. You want to decongest it first. And your lymph nodes know exactly what to do when you're encouraging them, stirring them up, kind of pumping them. Yeah, God's design is incredible.
I think we must all have a party where we do lymph movement. That's what.
Well, but you can come to my retreats. I'm gonna have fun. Yeah.
Okay. Now talking about movement of the lymph, what I understand is that the lymphatic system doesn't have like the cardiovascular system has the heart, which moves the blood through the vessels right down to the cells. But the lymphatic system doesn't have that pump, like the heart pump. So it works by valves, and what keeps the valves working, or the flow of lymph working through the channels, is movement, correct? Is our body movement.
Yes, our breath and the movement of our body. So you want the muscles to constantly be moving and breath.
Which tells you that nowadays with our lifestyles, which is so much in front of TVs, computers, and just plain sitting, we are actually doing ourselves harm unless we consciously move and we consciously breathe, correct? We consciously keep the lymphatic system flowing through movement. Yeah.
Yeah. I know people that have been in wheelchairs, or that are in wheelchairs and have been taught how to use their breath to keep moving. And then of course, a nice PT in their life, just to get their arms moving. That's why it's so important for them to have their limbs moving. And it's just also valuable. And if you're at a desk for any amount of time, get up and move.
And what about if you are really actually incapacitated? Does massage do the same thing?
Absolutely. Yeah, I had the pleasure and honor. It's always so honoring to me to touch people, but to work with a woman who is quadriplegic, and just the joy on her to be touched. That's why healthy touch is so important to me. Just to be touched and to be moved. I mean, our body receives it in ways that our brain can't even comprehend how we're receiving that touch. But yeah, because anytime your lymph is flowing, it's your blood and lymph. Think blood and lymph. It all flows together. So if you pink up your skin with your dry skin brush, you see that pink, your blood is moving and the lymph is moving with it.
Talk about the brushing. Some people here would not know about brushing.
So dry brush does not go in your shower. It's dry. And you want to make sure that it is natural bristles. If anything, nylon bristles will tear your skin microscopically. You're not going to see it. I'm talking, it gives microscopic tears on the skin. And anytime that happens, you're open and susceptible to infection, bacteria. So you want it to be a natural bristle. Now, this is a harder bristle. I started out with a softer. So anytime I'm going to turn it around just so I don't brush the lymph nodes off of my suit. Anytime okay, first of all, before I dry brush, I stir up and stir up. Remember, we talked about decongesting. So anytime I dry brush, I always decongest. And then I always start right here, go under my arm, and I pull the brush there. So when you're brushing your skin, it's moving the lymph vessels that are right under the skin. That's why I have these are the superficial lymph vessels that are right under your skin. The deeper ones aren't shown on here. So then I was asked once, why are you doing circles? You're doing circles just to pink up, and it also helps the doors in the lymphatic vessels that are in that tissue space, kind of helps the doors open up because fluid presses on them. And then I direct it. So I'm directing it to the armpit because it's all going to go down there. Yeah. And then so it's just, it feels so good. And y'all, if you've never dry brushed your hand, that's an amazing feeling, is to dry brush your hand and your feet. Oh my gosh. So yeah, and then after I do that top part, then I go under the breast and I bring it up here. I'm always like circling, and then sweep. I get on the side of the breast, everywhere the angle goes, sweep to the center, and then I go up. And then I do it on the other side. And then on the lower side, so in the crease of your leg are all these lymph nodes. And so decongest. So you do a little stirry, and then scoop, like a scoop. But actually before that, I'm just talking kind of fast here, because everything here is going here. That's when you want to do your deep breaths. So nice inhale, belly comes out. And then exhale, take your belly button to your spine. My hand is above my belly button. You're just kind of taking that scoop in. So I do 3. So this is clearing the way, right? Clearing the path for all this lymph to come to it. And so I start here. After I've done that, I start on the back side, my hip, and then I sweep it all around to the front. Same on the other side. And then I do my legs. Imagine a string on the back of from your ankle all the way up. On this side, the lymph flows in, and on this side, your lymph from your backside comes this way. Does that make sense? Yes. So when I'm on the side of my leg, I'm going to bring it this way and then up. When I'm on this side of my leg, I'm going to bring it towards the center and then up. And at the knee, have you ever had your knee just like, why is the inside of my knee so swollen? We have what's called the lymph vessels bottleneck there. So they come from the bottom, and there's so many of them that just kind of take that angle to come up this. You have some on this side too, but mostly on this side. So you can brush, and then direct. And I tell people to get your hand and just really use that nice little, remember that pull we did on our neck? That gentle directing of the skin. You can just direct this here and then, yeah. So that's the basics really quick of dry skin brushing.
See, I love it. I have to get a dry brush myself. But where's the exit point for the lower half? For the lower half, where's the point you're trying to bring it to? Is it in your groin area? Or is it by your navel area? I wasn't clear.
All coming around to this crease here.
Yes.
And here it goes deep into your abdominal area up to this point. I mean, we could talk cisterna-chyli is the beginning of it, because your fatty acids can't get absorbed into your bloodstream, so they have to go back into your bloodstream this way. So they come deep and then go up that thoracic duct, and it dumps into the left subclavian vein, the vein right under your clavicle.
So that is still the place where it all dumps into and then goes into the bloodstream, yeah?
And the only difference is that above your belly button, it gets there directly this way. Mm-hmm. Below the belly button, front and back, it gets there by draining here and then going up into the thoracic duct.
So what we can do is make sure it gets to the crease of our thighs, our groin area, and then the rest will happen if we do the right breathing, correct?
Yeah, rebounding. Mm-hmm. You don't have any of these balls you don't use to exercise on?
Yes.
Bouncing. I mean, make your own rebounder. And then I would do what's called legs up the wall. Just stir. Get on your back. Y'all know what that looks like?
Yes, I do.
You're laying like this. And the lymph is flowing down. So remember, you've decongested first. So you're letting that lymph come down. Put on some good worship music or read your I am statement.
Oh my goodness. Mitzi, thank you. I think that was the most fun. And you've got me wanting to do only lymph things now. Let's see if there's any questions. Does anybody have any questions in the live or on Facebook for Mitzi? We have a few minutes for questions. I'm checking the live chat. We have several people watching on Facebook, but everybody is just watching. Anybody have any questions? Go ahead, Karen.
May I, Wendy?
Hi there.
Hi. I have a friend who has a lump in the breast and is very nervous that it might be cancerous or whatever, but is afraid to go check. Would doing this type of massage help?
Oh, gosh. So with that question, it has to be an obvious answer. Go get it checked. Like that's the only thing I say is just go get it checked because she doesn't know what she's dealing with. And I could not say, I wish I could, but I would just say, isn't that something? Because fear does stop us from getting things checked. And then maybe on the other side of it, you're like, I got it checked. And you don't want to be in that position where you wish you would have sooner. So go get it checked. And then from that point, I could answer that question.
Okay.
I hope that helps.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. And I wish the best for your friend.
Carrie, that was a
yes.
that was a very good answer, Mitzi. But Carrie, I believe from what Mitzi has shown us, and from what I understand, that it would definitely be helpful, whatever her treatment is, to make sure her lymphatic system is working properly.
Moving. Yes.
Mhm.
Thank you, Mitzi and Wendy.
You're welcome. Pleasure to have you here. Okay, I saw somebody else put their hand up. I'm not sure who that was, but if you did have your hand up, please come on and ask the question.
Maybe me. I just unmuted. My name is also Wendy. So hello, Wendy. Hi. I'm wondering, Mitzi, and first of all, I just love you and your sweet spirit, and thank you for always being a light wherever you go. I want to ask you if you think like frequent sinus infections, one of my young adult daughters, like, and I've struggled with them in the past too, but I might have missed it if you did any like facial things above the jawline.
Yeah, we actually didn't get to that, but I definitely think it would be good. And then one thing that I like to use, so I do a lot of that on my clients, and one thing that I like to use is lavender oil and melaleuca under the cheekbone and above the eyebrow, nice circle, because the lavender is a natural antihistamine. And then so what we didn't get to is, see this line here? I forget what that's called, but all the fluid here, sinus, is going to go towards the ear. So remember, we decongest first. Always think clear the path. And you've already done this, right? Made your way up here. And then your fingers are like by your ears. So nice little gentle, we're not stretching hard. All it takes is a very gentle direction. And when I come back with my hand, I'm not pushing it back. My skin is just very gently taking my hand back where I started. Does that make sense? So maybe 1, 2, 3. You can do up to 5, and then come a little closer, and then I go in that way. So anytime I'm even putting my face lotion on or oil, I do this all the time. And then I might even do this. You can see that pink up so nicely. The other thing that you can do is right next to the nose. That is all going to drain down this way. So it's like this little. I hope my video doesn't get stuck here. So y'all, I like to keep it fun. And then just drain it down here. It's going to go under your chin. There you go. And then right beside your temples come down to the ear place. But yeah, but basically for the sinuses, another good thing for sinuses, and you might have seen it done before, is trigger points. You ever had that? Like, and if you have sinus pain, this hurts. There's a place where you're kind of pinching your eyebrow, and it's not pleasant. It doesn't hurt me because I don't have sinus issues. But I could definitely show you, Wendy, you and I could get face to face and do this, girl. I will teach you all about it. Happy to. And then you just kind of drain your eyebrows and then bring it back here. You can even drain your eyelids. I drain my clients' eyelids. It's very gentle touch. You're not pressing on your eyeball. Eyelids are very movable, so it's very gentle. And I'm just pulling the skin out. Always comes out this way so it can drain here. And don't circle it, just literally, just a nice little pull out. So there's no circling done there. Just a gentle out, out. There you go. And no pressing on the eyeball. No
Thank you for saying that, because I was busy circling.
I opened my eye and I thought, ah.
Good point. I was busy circling away because that felt nice too. Okay, thank you. That was a good question. Any other good questions? We'd love to have a couple more.
Yeah, I've got one, Mitzi. so a friend of mine has cancer in 2 places. She has skin cancer that she's being treated for, breast cancer that they can't treat for because they're treating her for the skin.
Oh, wow.
So how could this massage work for her? It's not chemo she's taking. It's hydrotherapy, something like that.
Something with water?
I guess, yeah.
That sounds interesting. I wonder if they're
That's
using,
fairly new. I know someone else who's done that too.
I wonder if they're using the hydrotherapy to move the lymph. Hydrotherapy.
Yeah, I have another friend who's also got cancer in 3 places, and
Yeah.
they're doing hydrotherapy with her too.
Well, that sounds really cool. And like I
I
said,
don't know how it works, but
yeah. So I get a lot of cancer questions, and I'm so hesitant to say yes or
I
no,
know.
but that gentle bouncing, not going crazy, but that gentle bouncing is you can't go wrong with that. The breath, the stretching, just that nice body movement. You can never go wrong with that. This is moving lymph, okay? And that's being done naturally. So there will never be, I have a lot of oncology clients, and I work on them going through chemo, and I work on them depending on the stage of radiation that they're in, and you can't get close to that radiation stage, but I work on other parts of their body when they're actively in radiation. But so, I know what I'm doing. So are you asking me, would self massage help?
I'm just wondering what I could suggest for her, I guess.
Yeah, I would suggest that she really find some good. Does she like to do yoga? Wendy, do you have online videos?
I do, but not for yoga per se.
Okay.
Yes, but there are so many online for yoga.
Her name is Yoga with Caroline, and she's a believer, and she does yoga, so she teaches breath work and moving, and I would encourage that because breathing and moving her body isn't going to do anything but help her and help settle her, and you get the Word of God woven into that. It's going to take care of your busy mind, because obviously that's a scary place to be. That would be I would recommend that, actually.
And of course, properly nourishing that body with
Totally all
with
Oh yeah.
yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Has to-
But just even like the stretches and self massage, not to try something like that, just stretches.
The only reason I hesitate saying this to someone online that I don't know is because I don't know them, and I don't know what they would be doing.
Right. So I could just suggest to her to deep breathing and stretches.
Get some stretches in, because that's going to move the lymph. That's going to move the lymph.
So Carrie, what I'm hearing is deep breathing, and then if she could find a gentle yoga class that she resonates with, that would help, that she can do in whatever her situation is. It can only help. Is that right?
Would tapping help as well?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you, Hen.
Would tapping help as well?
I've heard a lot about that. I definitely think it would. Yeah, sure. I don't know about it personally, but I've heard so many good things about it, and I would say, yeah, yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, I would think so. Tapping, I think, has lymphatic effect as well as neurological effect. So yes. Okay. So folks,
Thanks, Mitzi.
I'm thanking you guys for all the lovely questions, but we do have to let Mitzi go. So Mitzi, before we say thank you and goodbye, is there any way that the group can get in touch with you if they would like to continue this conversation? Would you like to tell them how to reach you, and if there's anything that you have that's exciting that's coming up that they might be interested in connecting with you for?
Yes, I'll put my email in the chat, and I am creating a guide it's called Reduce Inflammation and Feel Better. It's it's very simple, but I'm creating a guide. And then from there, it's an invitation to reach out to me for a one-on-one consultation to see what I can do for you. So I have.
So the best way to reach you right now is through that email then?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, everybody who's interested in following up with Mitzi, just take a look at her email in the chat. Just copy that. connect@lymphflowmitzi.com. That's pretty intuitive.
Complicated. So someday soon it'll just be mitzilove.com.
Okay. And so if you do reach out to her, then she'll send you that guide when it's complete, correct, Mitzi? And
Absolutely.
so they can have that free guide, which is lovely. Okay. So everyone, I thank you so much for being here and joining us, and those on Facebook Live as well. And Mitzi, a special huge thank you. It was so entertaining. You have me now. I am going to be lymphing. I think I've probably been pretty good with my normal life regimen. You know, I dance, I swim, I walk, but now you're going to have me doing all kinds of brushing. I'll be talking to people and brushing. I'm going to have to carry the brush around in the car. So
I will tell you, Wendy, really quick, dancing and being in the water is excellent for the lymphatic system.
Fantastic. I had those. I have those as part of my life. So on behalf of the Find Your Fire Tribe, Mitzi, thank you so much for being here with us. And to all of you who came and joined us and participated, we really, really appreciate you. Many blessings.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Wendy and Mitzi. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
We're getting hearts on Facebook.